Hello. Yep. Welcome to another episode. Now, while recording, the craziest thing happened. So, apparently, I think I had like this software running, and for some reason, it was like lagging up everything. It was freezing. And it took like half an hour to open JavaScript. So I knew something was wrong. So I just fixed up a little. Now everything seems to be working fine, luckily. Okay. If you've seen the last one, yeah, you have an explanation. Now today we are going to talk about contraptions. Also, there's another issue. Protecting ourselves for some reason. I got like a copyright claim, even though it was royalty-free background music. So unfortunately, just to be safe, I'm not going to be doing background music in this video. I guess you could just use my voice. Okay. So we're going to talk about contraptions, where we stick a bunch of triggers together to make things happen. So first of all, we're going to be talking about a counter, where every time you click, it'll increase a number. Now this is a very basic contraption, where you gotta do a touch group ID 1 and it toggles it on. Then you have to set this to the next free, which is group ID 2. Set this to item ID 1. Also, we should change color 1 to bright. So as you can see, whenever we touch, we will run a pickup trigger, that is spawn trigger, multi-triggered, and I'll count 1 and set the group 1. There you go. Now every time we click, the number will increase. Very basic contraption, only using 2 triggers. But it gets a little bit more complicated. Next of all is a collapse. So you want these 3 blocks to collapse. Now this is a little bit complicated. We had to set this to 1. And then we set this to 2. And then we set this to 3. Obviously nothing happens. Instead of using 3 move triggers, we're going to make each of them follow each other. So first of all, it's going to be 1 following 2. And then 2 following 3. And then 3 following 1. And then we're just going to move 1 by -10, -10. And then 3. And as you can see, they pretty much collapse. We could change this to 2, with a different effect. However, if we set them all, it kind of like collapses. And the best part, that rotating at 45 degrees actually kind of makes it collapse. Very interesting. Now this uses 6 triggers, follows and moves, so it all collapses down. So as you can tell, with all of them are set to the same, it'll still collapse. You could obviously adjust them, but that's another contraption. Next contraption is pretty much a fade. Pretty much, like earlier, I talked about spawn trigger loops. Now, the way to make a spawn trigger loop is you want to first start with a spawn trigger group ID 1 delay 0. Now you gotta go to spawn trigger, which is also like that, except it's spawn multi-trigger. It'll spawn itself, causing it to loop. Now make sure you set this to like 0.5, and then we can pulse the screen. We'll pulse the screen white. Like this. Now set this to spawn multi. Now set all this to group ID 1. Now as you can tell, it is just pulsing that screen. just like this. Mm. Yeah, it's just pulsing the screen. The spawn trigger loops can do way more than just this. We could constantly run collisions as well. Now I bet you're like, why would you want to do this? It's very simple. It's get interesting results. So let's just say we want to check if these two blocks collide. Make sure these are dynamic as well. And then we can set this to 2. And then we can constantly make these collide, causing the collision trigger to activate group 2. Activating group 2 will pulse the screen. Will pulse the screen as so. But this time it's set to group ID 2, and it checks, and it's constantly checking if these two blocks collide. So we can do something like this, where we forever change x by -20, we target 3. And then we set the touch triggered, which means you have to touch it like that. And this will target 3, moving it, pulsing the screen. Now doing back and out, you know there's a slight change, like so. So we can simply move it by 1. So we could simply, like this. As you can see, it pulses the screen because of the back and out movement. Now, when we do this, guess what? We can also put a spawn trigger here, which is touch triggered, and it activates group 4 with however long your move is. So once it's done, it'll activate another move, which is set to 4, is spawn triggered and multi triggered, and it changes it by -1. So it does this. After the two collide, we can do this, where it's sort of like the way we collide into it. It's actually very interesting about the results you get. This is what I call a 50-50 randomizer. When it's already ran, it'll do that. However, if you pause during it, it'll do this. Test it in game. Well, pulses the screen. Pause. Whoa. Oh, no, stop. Okay. Scary. This could be, like, yes, useful. Like, yeah, pretty cool. Oh yeah, that reminds me. The next thing we are going to talk about is a randomizer. You could pretty much, this is going to be a 50-50 one, since those are the most simple. Okay, starts off like that. Next of all, at the start, we're going to run, forever, we're always going to run a spawn trigger loop. We're always going to run a spawn trigger loop, which activates group 1 obviously, and forever does a pickup on this one, and it counts 1. And it's spawn multi, and it's group 1. And of course, it'll keep on counting. However, now, with our instant count, we're going to check if it's larger than 3. And it'll target group ID 2, activate group ID 2, which is a pickup activated by group ID 2, which will change the count by -4. So, okay, let me check. Oh yeah, make sure you check if it's larger than 4. I was like doing that. As you can see, it's cycling. Now the best part is we will check whenever you click, it will increase that value. It'll increase that value by 1 every time you click, and it'll toggle it on. Now obviously we set this to 3, make this spawn a multi-triggered, and we want to count it by 1. And then we simply set all of this to a final group ID of 4, meaning that we can actually set this to 5. And then finally, we can put a stop trigger right here, and it'll stop it. Oh, wait. Oh yeah, of course. I have to make sure that's the right thing. So now it's 3, however, if we click, we get 4, 2, 2. But it's not 100% a random. So you can use this to like make a randomizer. However, this can also activate a spawn trigger, which will spawn group 5 with a 0.25-second delay, making it as specific as possible. So I can do 0.27. It'll activate group 5, which, yes, is a pickup, which will change it on -1. So it's pretty much as specific as possible. Want to make sure that nothing too awkward can happen, like getting set to -1, like so. Like set this to very obscure. Make it like a little warped. Make it like So we could instead do something else, which we can use this contraption in a good way. By setting it here, we can get the ship game mode, add some See if we can get the ship game on. And make sure do a like a straight fly challenge, which most people are probably going to click a lot at because a lot of people aren't going to straight fly. And yeah, it's pretty much a randomizer. Okay, got two, got three, got three again, two, oops. We got four. Let's see, it's like a randomizer. Definitely more complicated. Getting mixed up. But before we go, I'm pretty sure I did forget to talk about H. So what H pretty much just does is stops you from hitting blocks. Like, see, you'll bounce on them. And you, for the other six, this works for the robot game mode as well. Yep. So before that's the right time, you can actually die. Okay. Okay. Next, since we finally got H cover, let's do some more contraptions because you can never run out of contraptions. Now, I thought it would be cool to do like a follow the leader. So we have this cube right here, one, and then you will be placed under a two. So obviously, oh wait, here follows player 1, 10 seconds, and then we can do move and lock it to your X. That's the target one. So we want to move 1 and like set it to 99. And let's see, we kind of got like a follow the leader sort of thing. Now, the better than move trigger is using a follow trigger, which one will follow 2 for like 99. And then this would be a 99. And then we have to actually place a 2. And then the 2 will forever lock. You should add a follow player X because it's still important. So as you can tell, and then the best part is we could do a delay of like 0.5. So when I jump, this could be used to make a trail effect. Like boom. And then everything else can also be set. Like, so we can do 3 with a 4 delay. And then we can do the same for this. So 3 needs a 0.4. This is 0.2. Follow group 2, 3. because now you have to set this to 3. As you can tell, now we could set this to an alpha trigger with group 4. So this is pretty much a trail effect. So as you can see, you do that. We could also make it a bit more precise. Instead of, we could use 0.1 delays. And then we could do 0.2 delay, like, well, it's kind of like almost part of you. So, and it won't get messed up, so, okay. And the best thing is there's something called build helper, which will pretty much set values for you when you click it. And it's very cool and it saves so much time. Now look. We still have to do that, but it pretty much sets this for us. We also have to do a 5 here. I mean, it is a bit complicated, but once you get it finished, it's really cool. And what if you do it with the ship game mode, it's even cooler. Because it's kind of like your own trail. Nice. And the best part, build helper, is exponentially like spreading. Magic 5. You have to do a 6, 7, and then an 8. And then we set 6 to 0.4, 7 to 0.5, and 8 to 0.6. Now look. Whoa. That is cool stuff. And you can make it even cooler by doing this. As you can see, there is my trail. Isn't it amazing? Like this look, see? Pretty much a straight fly detector. It can, like, by according to how straight the trail is, that's how good you are at straight fly. So yeah, I'm pretty good at straight fly, but not the best. Okay, there's the trail. It's so cool once you actually do it. I could do it all day. Okay, so here is our last contraption we are going to talk about today. And it's the worst contraption I have ever thought of. It's a contraption that crashes your game. Yep. Yeah, that's a joke. Of course, I'm not going to show the society how to do it. Okay, well, anyways, last contraption is pretty much rotation. It's pretty much worm movement. It's pretty much a worm contraption. So this can be our worm. I'll even color it like a worm. And we have to set the points on which and when it moves. It's set the points, like boom, boom. Like here, we want it to squirm this way to that way. We can only use rotate. So that's a challenge. Here's a quick challenge before. Only use each rotate trigger. Get this worm here, over here. And each of these points have to be used. So pretty much just do boom, 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 boom. Something like that. Okay, got it? Well, this is how I did it. First of all, I got my worm, and I got him to group ID 1. Then I set this to group ID 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, And then lastly, 6. Now, by using each of these rotates, we want 1 to rotate around 2, which we can do a 0.1 delay. And we're going to let it set to 180. So you just like that, and you keep on continuing. 3, 4, 5, 6. However, it still doesn't look like it works. Well, now... Whoa. That was not intended. Yep, that was totally not intended. So, you see, it does 180. Hold on, let me just save and exit. Go back. And clearly see that we just need to inch our way across. Like that. Now to help you, you could have enabled like duration lines or then set it all to 0.1 and got something like this. Ever for greatest performance, it's better if you spread them out like this. So now you can see our worm is inching across. Now to make it even better, you could set this to 7 and make the whole thing invisible. Like, it's just disappearing. Now it just looks like it's inching its way across. Now what this looks like in gameplay, it looks sick. Like, yo, look at that. It's just inching its way across. Really cool contraption to make. And it only requires some pivot points in rotation. However, that's it for today. We talked about many contraptions. Like that worm, we talked about like a worm contraption. Then we talked about like a randomizer, a counter. We just did so much. Well, probably not so much. What else? Like a few contraptions. I'm not really going to do an advanced contraption. Now, the next thing that we talk about is more like it's mechanics, like mechanics about the game, and how you can make editor gameplay a plus because sometimes editor gameplay is different. So we're going to be talking about specific mechanics that can improve your editing skills. Okay, and obviously there's a worm. Yep, it's a worm. So what were to happen if I were to do this? What the? Um, so, oh god. Oh, okay,